at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
I'm returning to Clinton Parish, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Parish, we take the pain out of being heard.
Shop MyJBNOnline Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. MyJBN Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop MyJBNOnline Women's Boutique.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBNOnline, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It was a monumental game for A&M and Tampa. It was a monumental game. Somebody had to lose, and thank God it was them this time.
We knew it was going to be a battle. Look at Jake Gaither's record. 202 and 36, I think, some off-the-wall figures.
And nobody would play him because they didn't want to take a chance of getting beat. But the truth of it is,
over 46,000 tickets. Blacks were sitting in the east stands. Whites were sitting in the west stands. And the score wound up 34-28.
The only thing we proved that we wasn't inferior, that we were not inferior, and we were not afraid.
For one night, for 160 minutes, we was better than them.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
So you're a philosopher? Yes.
This is Thoughts and Moments. Hey, it's your boy Silly Thoughts, the Prince of Petty.
And I'm Joy, also known as Joy Ride. I provide the moments to make your life better.
We're here weekly to provide the latest news, trending topics, and edutainment.
We will engage, entertain, and inform, but we keep it real and we keep it fun.
So whether you're riding in these streets or podcast surfing with your peeps, this is a show you don't want to miss.
Every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And guess what? It's 5 p.m., so let's go.
Go. Hey, it is your boy Silly Thoughts, and you are watching Thoughts and Moments right here on the Jericho Broadcasting Network.
Yes, you are, and I am Joy Ride, his faithful co-host. I'm so excited to have you all here with us today. We are back in the studio. We are ready to enlighten you today, to have some deep conversation, and to set up next week. So I hope you guys are ready to get your fingers ready, get your fingers popping, because we really want to talk to our chat room today. I want you guys to help us set up next week's show. So anyway, welcome.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been together in the studio.
Yeah. Last week we had fun with you. We spots wasn't ready, video was off. You would look spot get talk like this. It was fun.
It was it was a mess, but
I had my fill in, If you didn't catch
Muscles, but Mr. Willie Muscles.
Oh, the hate continues into the next week. Ladies, he is spoken for. However, if you would like a moment of eye therapy, watch last week's show and check out my co-host from last week. That's all I'm going to say about that.
He did a good job. He's very, very smart, brother, and that allowed him being here allowed me to, because I was kind of wearing two hats simultaneously. We're getting ready for our COVID town hall with a whole bunch of people from all over the country. And so I was kind of taking calls. Ed Gordon was calling, texting me. So I was like, I had to disappear for a moment to take that call. So it was all good. Great information about COVID. So if you go to blackdoctor.org, you can watch that town hall and really get some information about COVID. We had the president of the National Black Nurses Association, all of the black medical school presidents. So it was a really good show. Got a lot of great information. So with that, I'm still very happy to be here.
Right.
This is my first love.
Right,
So.
our first love. You know what? It's interesting that you talk about that because both of us are doing a lot of different things, especially when it comes to media and entertainment. And yeah, we got dreams, we got aspirations. We want fame. Fame starts right here with sweat. But anyway, we do have a lot of things that we do. I hope that you follow us on the other platforms that we're on. And we're trying to get a lot of cross-platform action going on. And so last week, like I said, you saw
Usually
somebody
you pay
else.
more for that.
Say what?
Usually you have to pay double for that
For the
cross-platform action.
You know what? It's no kids watching. Say what you want. But anyway, so we had somebody here last week. After our guest left the studio, got a couple of calls, made some connections, got some connections for him back and forth. Next week, the person that we have coming on next week has his own show. We're going to be bringing him in. I've been on his show before, and so when we talk about supporting small upstarts and black businesses, etc., never miss an opportunity to tell somebody what you want and what you do, because you never know that what you do may be something they need and what you want may be something they have, and you don't know it. How many friends on your Facebook list, you don't know what they do for a living? You don't even know where they live. They funny. They agree with you a lot, but you don't have any idea how big of a network you might actually have if you just step out and say, you know what, this is what I'm all about, and see who responds. That's the law of attraction. But you can't attract stuff without putting it out first, and that is your coaching moment for the day.
You know what? You can't jump out being a supervisor. And I saw a comedian, and it was Earthquake, and he was talking about going out on a first date, and the lady ordered, steak and lobster. And he said, you don't go to the job the first day trying to be the supervisor.
Exactly. I'm going to work up to that.
You don't get into this field. You don't get in this area jumping off and being on The View.
So go and get that popcorn, shrimp, and French fries.
You do. You got to
graduate to steak and lobster.
Work your way up. And so we're putting in the time and supporting one another. And that's another kind of key component is, you could put in the work all you want to, but to get true fans, to get true supporters, you got to put in some work for other people.
Right.
Have small business owners come on.
Right.
Have people come on that aren't normally on the radio. Give them that shot, and then guess what? They will introduce you to their network, and then if you're doing a good job, their network will stick with you. So,
so shout out to My HBCU Pride and Joy, our first sponsor that we brought into Jericho Broadcast Network. Shout out to Sugar Chateau. I know they're on their way in. Shout out to who else? Who else I want to shout out? Because we've had a lot of people on the show. Malachi Bailey and his re-release of his book, Her.
That's right.
The sequel is coming up soon. Now, not only did he re-release his book, he's got the sequel coming. He also has turned it into a graphic novel, and they did a crossover with another graphic novel. So, again, when we talk about supporting each other and helping each other out, Malachi, baby boy, I'm so proud of you. I started looking at my producer to make sure I could keep rambling on, but shout out to Kiana Claiborne and Paparazzi Jewelry. She gave us some prizes for the show for our first giveaway. So all of this is supporting small businesses, supporting people trying to do their thing, get their hustle on in a professional way, and we support each other. And
Dr. Erica.
Dr. Erica. Board certified, double board certified, Harvard trained psychiatrist, Dr. Erica, helping women achieve their best lives all over the world. I've listened to her so many times, I almost got
Fix
her
Your Fairy
tagline
Tale.
down. Fix Your Fairy Tale. That's the book she wrote.
That's the book.
That we've pumped up on this show, and then like I said, I've been on her show as well. So we all over. We out here. Okay,
doing our
thing and helping.
So if you want to keep
else.
supporting us, make sure you download the JB1 app, the MyJB1. It's on Android and it's also on Apple Play. So go there, and when you register on the app. Make sure you register. You get prizes, but you also have to pick us as the reason why you downloaded the app. Okay.
They'll be in there picking other people.
For real.
Thoughts and Moments Radio is the reason you came in. And one last shout out to, actually, he's in our chat room today, Jermaine Taylor of Soapbox Sundays on Instagram. He does interviews and discussions every Sunday on Instagram. So check him out too. You know,
right.
We got people all
So
over.
we need 20 people to register. We need at least 20 people to register.
Yeah.
And once we get 20, all of y'all will be registered to win a gift card.
Right. So just to reiterate, the first 20 people that go into MyJBN, the app, and register using Thoughts and Moments as the reason you're there, we're going to put those 20 people in a drawing, and you're going to get the first Thoughts and Moments merchandise coming soon.
Absolutely. So, we're still in the middle of this pandemic. And the sad, the thing about it is we're so accustomed to a 24-hour news cycle and things kind of cycling out after 72 hours and for the next hot story that when the pandemic happened, I think our first response was, oh, it'll go away.
Right.
We kind of responded like the president. Oh, yeah, it'll go away on its own.
Still good.
Because news cycles through. And it's not cycling through.
And then when we had to quarantine, I know I'm from the South, and I've always lived on the Gulf Coast. So for me, quarantine is hurricane prep. You know, I got my snacks. I got my bottle of wine. I sat on the weekend for watching Netflix, and I was like, all right, yes, it's a box of wine. How dare you judge me? Don't judge me in my box of wine. You know, Boda Box makes a really good box of wine. Anyway, I had a couple boxes. And I was going to chill out because in my mind it's going to be over soon.
Yeah.
And, hurricane snacks turned into COVID snacks, turned into COVID 20 pounds, because it's been 6 months and I'm still in that mentality of, okay, I'm going to get on my diet as soon as this is over.
And we call them the pandemic pounds that are happening right now. we had a case of wine delivered to our house yesterday. I was like, I got a text from my wife. She was like, yeah, did my wine get delivered yet? I was like, I have to show an ID because, of course, you have to be 21 over to receive the case. And I was like, what'd you get? She said, I got a case. So we went to a restaurant. She liked the wine so much, took a picture of the label.
Yup, that's how I do.
And it's hard to find here. So she called the winery. And they're like, what's in your case?
Exactly. That's how you do it.
Really?
I had the same experience. I went to a restaurant. I got a glass of wine, and it was like, first sip. Waiter, I'm going to need you to come back. Bring the bottle. Bring me the bottle. Yes, the whole bottle. Yes. And then I brought the bottle, took a picture. Can I find this where? I was
serious
in
these
at the
wine
time.
streets.
I went to Specs. Let me tell you, I went to Specs, which is the liquor store in Houston, and I researched it out. I was like, do y'all have this wine? And they said, we think it's down on that shelf. I looked at the shelf, and he goes, how many bottles do you want? I was like, 6.
All of them.
All of them. I went in there for one, and then I realized I'm going to drink it. If I just get them all now, because they won't sell. I was like 2, 3, 6. Give me all of this, because you get a discount at 6. So I was being frugal, right? Okay, that's the story I'm sticking with.
Shout out to for Chuck Hobbs. He started a watch party. So
okay. Hey, Chuck.
Big ups to Chuck. So we'll give you a shout out there, and Iron Sharpens Iron. And your
Steel Sharpens Steel is the name of the show.
I'm sorry. I was quoting the Bible. I quoted the Bible.
You were, yes. See,
can't get mad at God.
Right.
But I'm sorry, Steel Sharpens Steel. My bad, you about to end this watch party right now.
But shout out to Chuck Hobbs. As a matter of fact, our main topic of the show today is going to be around a little bit political, but not too deep. But we're going to ask our audience today for some things because Chuck Hobbs is our guest for next week. And he is going to be dropping mad science on you, FAMU in the house. And it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be right on time. And I personally look forward to his Hobservations. And so if you have, again, supporting each other, go check out the Hobservation Point, the blog, and Hobservations, which is his page that he posts all of his stuff on Facebook. And we're going to have him on next week to give you the straight dope. It's going to be so good.
His blogs are very informative. Mm-hmm. They're very well written. You get a lot of, but you got to have some time. You got to have at least 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just saying. You got to read it. Then you got to process what you just read.
Right.
Sometimes you got to read it over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
but that's how you know you're getting educated. When you read it and you're like, wait a minute, I got to go Google what this is even about. Wait, what is this? What is this law he's talking about? And then you come back. Okay, what is this word? I don't know this word. So you're going to learn something from Chuck every single time.
Every time.
Looking forward to having you next week, friend.
So what's been happening in the news? I've really stopped watching because of what's been going on with this race and the fact that now that's coming out that Kamala Harris, somebody at her camp, has tested positive for COVID, so she's kind of shut down a little bit of her campaign activities. Biden was, it came out that Biden has been traveling with somebody that's tested positive with COVID, and so therefore there's some things swirling around him. So, you know, that just lets you know COVID is touching every part of our lives. We've had baseball, football, so we talk about all sports, entertainers. I remember Tom Hanks and his wife, they went to Australia and got quarantined over there.
Right.
So it's all over the earth.
The earth, EARF. It's all over the earth. And that's the thing, is like if you look at now you can mitigate your exposure. And so if you look at the Republican camp and how many people caught the virus in a weekend, you know, there, because they were not following social distancing laws, rules, suggestions, whatever you want to call it. They weren't wearing masks, and so many of them have contracted the coronavirus. On the other end, you have both Biden, Harris, and their camps have been very particular and very stringent in their protocols, but there are still a couple of people that have come down with or been tested positive for coronavirus. So you can't escape it, but you can try to mitigate it. You know, it's the difference between walking through fire with nothing on and walking through fire with a fire blanket. Like, the blanket does help. Do what you can to save yourself. And I just pray that, I pray that everyone recovers, but I just pray that the people who have been identified as having contacted it are able to quarantine themselves, recover, and hopefully they haven't had too much contact with other people to spread it around. Because what we don't want is everybody out with coronavirus. That'd be a nightmare, you know?
So shout out to, I'm going to give a shout out to my man, Harry Tamar Brown. So I'm giving him a shout out because he watches us every week, and he's always giving us shout outs and sharing our show. So shout out to, you're moving into super fan status there, Harry. So shout out to Harry. So once we get some merch, you'll be one of the first people to get one.
Absolutely.
And also shout out to Tammy Powell for downloading the JBN app and registering. So during the show, you see how quick that was? She heard us. She went and did it. See, it's not that hard.
That's
right?
what we like. Appreciate you.
So appreciate you, Tammy. Keep up the good work and keep listening. So Harry and Tammy, salute.
So now the other big thing that has been in the news this week has been the beginnings of the Senate hearings for Amy Coney Barrett, who is the nominee for. You know she's gonna get confirmed.
She got the three names. So we had RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now we got Amy Coney. She got three names.
Right.
Serial killers and Supreme Court justices got three names. That's what it is.
Ellis Dean, everybody. Ellis Dean. So a lot of things have started to come to light around her past, her stances, and it's one thing to be conservative; it's another to be radically conservative. And I don't think anyone, even Scalia on the SCOTUS, was this radically original constitutionalist conservative. You know, to the point that it's one thing to be Catholic, it's another to be in a small religious group that no one can really define, where your title was handmade.
Did you say?
And no, I'm not
ISIS?
making that up.
Did you say ISIS?
No, fool. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, I'm just saying there's a parallel.
There is a parallel.
So you have the religion of Muslim, and then you have small sects that are a little bit more
extreme.
To the edge, extreme into their beliefs, and they carry it out.
Every religion has extremists. You know, you see that across the globe, and they do tend to want to get their rights, or want to get their point across with violence, unfortunately. But I'm not. First of all, I want to be clear. I am not saying she was part of a violent religious sect, but she was part of a group. I can't remember the name of it, but they've scrubbed her from their website to try to protect her. And I don't blame them. If some of my friends were running for public office, I would scrub my Facebook of them as well. Like, oh, you wasn't at homecoming. You wasn't at Freaknik. Now, I don't know nothing about you being in Freaknik in '94. I would try to help them out, too, so I don't even blame them for that. But it does raise questions about what exactly does she stand for, and what will she try to either enact or repeal once she becomes Supreme Court Justice.
Is it just me, or is this a dog and pony show, right? Because her record speaks more than these hearings, right? So the hearings, they question you about your record. These people are already, Congress is already going to vote how they were going to vote, right? And it's right down party lines. There might be a few Republicans that vote against it, but for the most part, it's going to be down party lines because they want to stack the Supreme Court, which is why they're rushing this through. I mean, they ain't really, the dirt ain't even packed down on RBG, and they're already trying to find her replacement.
And
so, and how long did it take for them to get Scalia replaced when Obama had?
It was months.
It was months, and they said, "Oh no, a lame duck president shouldn't." And so a month in, and we're already trying to cram her into the court. So there's bigger things on the line. Roe versus Wade is potentially on the line because of her extreme Catholic stance in terms of, and Roe versus Wade is not about killing babies. It's about women's choice and them having choice over their body.
Right.
And so, that's really what it's about. I'm against, it's not a decision I would make in my life. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to make that decision for somebody else, and I can't make that decision. And so
and
I'm always going to vote for you to make your own decision.
That's the thing that always confuses me about the dichotomy of, or the paradox of religious freedom and separation of church and state and all these things, and people wanting to do things from a state standpoint that are based on their religion that they want to impose on someone else. And then when you tell them you can't impose your religion on somebody else, oh, you're stifling my religious freedom. No, I'm stopping you from stifling somebody else's personal liberty. And so again, like the African proverb says, your right to swing your arms stops at my face.
Exactly.
You can't just be out here being reckless and doing whatever you want when you start to hurt me. And that's where I always come back to being pro-choice. I wouldn't, in my current state, even though I don't have the loot I had when I was in corporate America, if I got pregnant, first of all, I had a hysterectomy years ago. So if I got pregnant right now, everybody go to church because something's going down. I'm just saying. But
she must have had that Peter Popoff holy water.
Right? But if
you get up late at night,
myself,
you know what I'm talking about with that Peter Popoff holy water, okay?
Ellis Dean, everybody. But anyway, he's here all week. But anyway, the thing about it is, if I got pregnant, I don't think that I would make that decision for myself. But I also know the situation that I'm in, and it also depends on how I got pregnant. If I got pregnant from getting roofied by a stranger in the middle of a club, I don't know that I would want to, or someone that I knew, my own uncle, like something like that. There are a lot of reasons for people to make a lot of decisions, and the permutations are infinite. It's not always one situation or another. You don't know what's going through somebody's mind. You don't know what they've been through, how they've made this decision, how they've come to it, how it affects their psyche. And to assume that they are just cavalier about it, having abortions every weekend, and that's not even how female reproduction works, first of all, but to make that assumption and disparage their character when you don't know how hard that decision was to come to is a disrespectful reduction of the argument,
Well, and I think the biggest irony in that whole situation is that the most conservative states have the highest abortion rates, and they also have the highest teen pregnancy rates.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about this conservatism leading to being pro-life, that's really not the way it's working out because, again, they're on both ends of the spectrum.
Right.
They do have a lot more teen pregnancies. And they also have a higher rate of abortions. And so I think if you're not open and honest about it and really having real conversations about it, I think you have to trust people to make good decisions. And I think that goes all the way back to when the president made a statement about, I didn't want people to panic. Trust people to make their decisions. If you want to be the party of personal responsibility, give them the information so they can make a responsible decision. And if you don't do that, if you just say, no, it's bad, no, it's bad, no, it's bad, and don't talk about sex and things like that with your children, then they're going to go out and try it and test it out.
Right. This is how you get kids in high school telling other kids you can't get pregnant if you do it standing up. That's what people tell you.
Really?
You can't get pregnant if you take a bath right after. That's not how that works. But those rumors, I remember hearing that when I was in high school. And I know that type of thing still goes on because I've coached enough kids to know that what they hear from their friends is really freaking stupid.
Yep.
And until we start having open conversations about not just that, but a whole lot of stuff. And we're not going to spend the whole show talking about reproductive rights. But our point is the Senate hearings are happening right now.
Yep.
Keep your eye on it. And also, once again, our best bet, because there's a very good chance that she is going to be confirmed. Now, there are a few women senators that may have a problem with some of her stances, and they may jump ship and say, no, I don't think so, though, because they've already been indoctrinated into that Republican or die sort of mentality. they may toe the line on this in the interest of preserving their own status. So we don't know how that's all going to go. But if she does get confirmed, then we're going to have a 6-3 SCOTUS, which means that a lot of their decisions have the potential to be very much on the conservative end.
Including the Affordable Care Act.
Including the Affordable Care Act, which is going to come before them not too long after the election. And that's what, all of this is on the line. All of this is on the line, you know. Yeah. And so speaking of what's on the line, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to hear from everybody in our chat room. The question is, what do you want? You know, I want you guys to tell me, as a black person, if you're black, and if you're black or a black ally in our chat room, tell us, what do you want the next president to do? Okay? We'll be right back.
I'm returning to Clinton Parish, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Parish, we take the pain out of being heard.
Shop MyJBNonline Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. MyJBN Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop MyJBNonline Women's Boutique.
Hey, and we are back. Thank you. You're watching Thoughts and Moments right here on the Jericho Broadcast Network. Make sure you download the app, the MyJBN, on Android and Apple Store, and register. First 20 people that register will get in the running for a gift card courtesy of Thoughts and Moments Radio. So we thank you for your support and support the whole JBN Broadcast Network as we continue to grow.
And speaking of continuing to grow, one of the things that we're working on for the future, you know, after the apocalypse, when the world opens up again and we can go outside and do stuff, is trying to have some live events.
Yes.
And we want to try and have, as our producers try to get on the mic. Right, you should have seen our producer like, yes, oh, now. Okay, so we do have some live events that we're going to try and do in 2021. You know, we want to try and have an audience where we can do giveaways to all our folks here in Atlanta. And there's a whole lot of y'all in our chat room, you know, O.C. Anderson, Danny Bryant.
Tara Hayward Craig with her top fan.
Tara Hayward. Right, Erica Goodman. Like, we want to do something where we can bring everybody together and have a little fun, play a few games and get some prizes. So that's for the future. But in the meantime, tonight, what we want to talk about is, you know, what do you want? So, if you haven't heard, wait.
We got one thing to do before we get to our main topic. So, you know, I say in our intro, I'm the Prince of Petty, right? And so I kind of enjoy it. I even got a sweatshirt that has like it's like a hybrid of the Pepsi logo, and instead of Pepsi, it says Petty. So I wear it during the winter time. Every once in a while, I just, you know, I'll wear it one time on the show as we get colder. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my role. It's sense and insensibilities. So, so that's the way we work. So we found something. 50 Cent is super petty. He is the king of petty. If you ever follow him on Instagram, he is so petty, and he goes after people. He's already with Floyd Mayweather. He talked about how he couldn't read and put crayon thing. So he got Ja Rule. So we're gonna show y'all how he got Ja Rule. King Petty, 50 Cent.
You had a beef with, or have a beef with Ja Rule?
It's an old school. That's an old.
But I understand that. But I understand in October you did something to get back at Ja Rule.
Yeah.
And please tell the people what you did, because this is quite
I bought like the first 4 rows in his concert. It was like on Groupon for $15. It wasn't a big deal. They were showing me the stuff on there, my sister and stuff, and I said, yo, they put concert tickets in? And I looked, and his tickets was there. I was like, how much are the tickets? $15. I said, okay, give me the first 4 rows.
How many seats is that? It's got to be like 200 seats.
That's done but like $3,000.
So when he came out, there's nobody in the first 4 rows of his concert?
Now you got to test your showmanship. When you come and there ain't nobody in the front seats, you got to still perform like everybody's here.
Okay. So that happened a while ago. Yes, it did. And
I love it, though.
So with that, I got a few things I want to talk about. Friends and social media. When you see something, check the dates. Since we talk about being petty, check the dates on the things that you put forward, because sometimes it could be something that's new to you, but ain't necessarily new. Because when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is from a while back. But because again, they're talking about going to a concert before COVID even hit, and he was talking about last October. Okay, but it's probably came out in a memory or something like that. Our producer's like, I saw that Tuesday. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
It's still great, though.
It's still great.
It's
And
still
now this is when he said, now you got to test your showmanship. So this is how you spin it. This is relevant to right now, because right now we've got a president who cannot perform if he doesn't have those first 4 rows, right? He needs people in the audience. He needs people to feed off of. So now test your showmanship. What do you have to offer other than slogans, T-shirts, paper towels, and one-off sayings that you get people to cheer and clap for you because you said drain the swamp, and you don't even know what that means? So show and prove. You know, now that you don't have an audience, now that people are watching you fumble or stumble on stage, what you got? And that brings us, I'm awesome, by the way. Yeah. That brings us back to what we're talking about today is, what do you have and what do we want? So I want to go through some of the things we've gotten in the chat room already. You know, James Herndon, another super fan, says, you know, I just want the next president to have common sense and compassion. And, you know, that's not asking too much. But it is asking a lot at the same time. Common sense, like everybody knows, ain't always common. And a lot of times compassion can be relative to your station in life. You may feel like you have compassion for certain groups of folks, but if you're familiar with the concept of the white man's burden, what that really means is, because of the vestiges of white supremacy, there are white people that feel like minorities and marginalized groups are theirs to have to take care of because they can't take care of themselves. And so all of their help and aid comes in the form of, let me just do this for you because you are incapable. I'll take on this burden of caring for you because you can't care for yourselves. A lot of people in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on felt that way. That was progressive for the mid 20th century, was to think, well, we'll just offer people something because they can't take care of themselves. But real progress, real compassion is, I understand I've made it hard on you this whole time. I'm just not gonna make it hard on you no more. I'm going to take you at face value that you graduated, got 6 degrees. If you're a black woman, you got 12 degrees. You know, you've been all over the world, you're educated, and you want this position that you're highly overqualified for. Sure, yes, I will finally recognize your achievement. That's what we're looking for. Not for you to give us something, but to allow us to earn what we deserve, or get what we deserve, so to speak.
I think let's set the context. I know on the internet there was a lot of, like, it came out that Ice Cube had been working with the Republican Party and they adopted some of his contract with Black America, contract with whatever he's calling it. They adopted a lot of his principles into that platinum plan that the president came out in the last month of the election, trying to steal enough black votes to win the election again. And so
now I want to
Ice Cube said he took it to both parties. He said that the Democrats told him, we will look at it after the election, because right now they're not in power, so there's nothing that they could do as of right now to enact some of that. And then the Republicans said, oh, great, because they didn't really have any idea of how, in my opinion, I'm putting the opinion on this, they really don't have an idea of how to enact with Black America. And so therefore, when they have somebody bring it, they said, okay, great, we'll just put it in our plan, and we'll call it the platinum plan, which I think is a bit, it's kind of an insult, but I'm not taking, I'm taking it as an insult, calling it the platinum plan. Like, why are you calling it that?
Whatever.
But anyway, so, and so they incorporated some of that. And so Ice Cube was like, now encouraging, from what I understand, people not to vote, black people, not to vote, and trying to withhold our vote to send the message to both parties that our vote, has weight and has power and whatnot. And so until you deal with us, we're not going to give you our vote just because of historic kind of connections or whatever.
Right.
In theory, I say that would work before 2016. That might have worked before 2016. After 2016, I don't think we're in the position to allow 4 more years under this particular administration.
Right.
And so after we can vote him out, then we can have a serious conversation with Joe Biden and say, hey, look, dude, if we don't get some of these things, you'll be a one-term president like your predecessor. How do you want to do what you want to do?
Right.
And then we can have more bargaining chips and say, hey, look, Republican Party, don't put another buffoon up there or we're not voting for you.
Right.
You need to put somebody on there that has this part of their agenda and is serious about it and has a track record of it, not a track record of taking out full-page ads calling for the death of innocent
5 young black
men.
boys.
So
right.
That's what, that's kind of the context of what we came with today. That's why when you saw our promo, you had an Ice Cube on there. That's
right.
the context.
Now, I do want to say one thing, and I'm not caping for Ice Cube because I ain't bought none of his music since, like, was it America's Most Wanted or the album before that? I think I was into downloading at that time. I ain't seen too many of his movies, so it's not like I'm a super fan. The last movie I saw with Ice Cube in it was Friday. Right. So that being said, I do want to make the clarification, again, we got to think about how people spend things because Ice Cube put together this, contract for Black America or whatever he called it, and he put it out, nonpartisan. This is what I think we need as black people. He did talk to different folks. He did get some advice. He didn't create that in a vacuum. He may not have talked to everybody, but he did try to work it out, and it was something. So let me do what I can do. Here's my idea, and both parties reached out to him. The Democratic Party then said, we like what you're doing, we like what you're saying. A lot of this is already in our plan in some form, but, let's dig deeper into this. If we win the election, we'll be back to talk to you. That's where they stand right now. The Republican Party is, this is great. We're going to crib some of this, put it in our plan, and then but we're also going to use the time as a photo op to say, look at how we are working with a popular black person. This is the same thing that this particular sitting president did with Kanye, with Herschel Walker, with Steve Harvey, with the black clergy. Remember when they all, the pictures of them laying hands on him? Yeah. Some HBCU presidents went to speak with him, all in an effort to say, hey, this is what we want. So this idea isn't new. Not even new for this year.
Step and Fetch It. Diamond and Silk.
Well, I don't count Diamond and Silk. I'm talking about people who actually had an idea that he might listen. Because he did. Trump did have black friends, but he had black people that he liked to have at parties for entertainment purposes, like Steve Harvey. And then when he won the presidency, Steve Harvey said, well, I know him, I'll go talk to him, and maybe I can talk some sense into him. But all of a sudden, it's a photo op, hey, look at me with black people, chick, and okay, get out of here. I want to say.
He realized he was used, and he said pretty much that after the fact. Herschel,
Herschel's still on the plantation. But anyway, the rest of them, thought that they were going to make some progress. And I do believe that considering the severity of the election right now, I do think that Ice Cube, when they approached him, he gave them the same spiel he gave the Democrats. Hey, this is what I want. Use it or don't. But I'm telling you, this is what I think, black people, this is what me and the people I work with think black people really need. And the Democrats are like, bet, we'll be back. The Republicans are like, yes, look at what we've done. Look at who's working with us. We're working with him. We talked to him. We're going to use his plan. And the narrative became that he was working with the Republicans when that's not necessarily what happened. He was working with anybody that wanted to listen. They both listened in different ways. And then the Republicans started trying to spin that into some collaboration between the two. And Ice Cube would be the first one. He even tried to come out and say this in a different video. Look, I'm not supporting Trump. I'm saying that I went to both parties and told them, both, this is what I got.
Here's my problem with Ice Cube in that whole situation, and then we're going to go back to, your comments about what you think we want, because I think either Jermaine or OC made a good point about the cabinet.
Yeah.
But here's my problem. I can't have a real conversation with you as a group if you're going to make bedfellows with white supremacists and white nationalists and have that as part of your voting base. I can't have a real conversation with you until you oust them out of your party and make it uncomfortable for them to be a part of your party, even if that means losing elections. But you're going to have to rebrand the Republican Party. You can't run gimmicks like that and photo ops with Ice Cube and black celebrities, entertainment celebrities, not black intellectuals, mind you. But
right, because he had a chance to talk to John Lewis. This president had plenty of time.
He won't talk to entertainers and clergy. He won't talk to anybody else.
He won't talk to Auntie Maxine.
Have a real conversation with so the Republican Party has to make a decision, and the decision that they've made for the past 4 years and double down on is we're okay with a little bit of white supremacy and a little bit of racism. I'm being nice. Okay. We're okay with having racism as part of our platform because it pulls in a lot of that flyover state vote, which will get us into, based on electoral college. That's how he won the last time, right? And so it wasn't a popular vote. It was an electoral college vote that won him because he won these states that felt marginalized and not by the coast. And so he's trying to run that game plan again, and he's putting just enough. He's trying to muddy the water just enough. Oh, it's Ice Cube. Like, I've never looked to, and there's some great entertainers. Don't get me wrong, that are very, very active. Jesse, what's his name on?
Not Jesse.
No, not Jesse. I'm talking about Jesse, the light-skinned brother.
Our producer is a mess. But, I know you're talking about Jesse. I can't remember his name. The guy from Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, from Grey's Anatomy. Very, very active. Hill Harper, another actor that's very, very active. Don't get me wrong.
You can go back in the day to Harry Belafonte.
All the way back. But today's entertainers, I got to have a little bit of skepticism. And I think Ice Cube is making some great strides, and he's speaking up for black people, and I appreciate that.
But you got to know you're being used, player.
You got to know you're being used, and you got to understand that, your life is not going to appreciably change depending upon who's in the office. Like, you're still Ice Cube. Right? You're still Ice Cube. And so when you're making these kind of contracts for black America, you got to make a contract for real black America, for a lot of black America that's rural, for black America that's redlined into urban situations that they can't get out of, that are in underperforming schools. That's who the contract has to be made with. Ice Cube, entertainers like that, y'all need to make a contract with those people first and stop just, getting them to buy your music. Make a contract with the real black America first before you take that contract to white America or white dominated parties and get that. And so, so make that contract with us first before you start speaking on our behalf to the Democrats or the Republicans.
So I got a few other things that people have come up with. O.C. Anderson is like, I want the next president to put teeth back into the cabinets and agencies. EPA. The EPA should not be run by energy executives.
Exactly.
Because that is a conflict of interest. Education is run by someone who has never taught school or attended a public school.
Never in her life.
That is not the same reality. And so, in summary, fix all that. Yes. So, the current presidency has routinely put people in positions that they are not qualified for. Doesn't mean they aren't rich. Doesn't mean they aren't influential. Doesn't mean that they aren't, nice people, I'm sure. But they lack the qualifications for the jobs that they've been given. And it has allowed a lot of nonsense to happen in the last 4 years. Somebody else, Jermaine Taylor's, immediately outlined a national plan to combat the virus. That absolutely has to happen.
That's got to be January 20th, January 21st. You need to have that plan out there. I like what Tara said. I want the next president to outline a plan to abolish the Electoral College.
Yes.
Absolutely. I do think
the Electoral College has been failing us for decades now.
Yes, and it is a fail-safe that the Founding Fathers put in to make sure that they don't have a buffoon get into office, and they still wanted some control. But look what happened.
You got a buffoon.
He played the system, right? He played the system. He understands there's a lot of states where that aren't multicultural, and he played right to them. Oh, we're going to do this. He sold them a bill of goods. He did a P.T. Barnum. He walked in. He's the Don King of presidential candidates. Had a lot of one-liners and said a lot of things, and everybody was cheering. Yeah, and he hasn't,
lock her up.
He hasn't
drain
delivered.
The swamp. China flu. All of that.
All that, and so he's trying to, and he has really been a Teflon Don, and the fact that nothing that he does poorly is sticking to him. There's always an excuse. There's always a reason as to why this didn't work. Oh, this is the record unemployment for black Americans. You're stating a fact. You're not stating what he did. So don't come to me, and please don't come for me, because I've already had to shut people down on the internet, and I will continue to do it. Don't make that statement. That's a statement of fact. That's not a statement of what he did to get to that. He didn't do that. He just presided over an already improving economy, and so he could say this. And he's trying to claim it as it was something he did. He didn't do it. The one thing he did do was prison reform. But what I'm saying is this. If you think that's what he's doing for black America, you're assuming that a lot of black people are in prison.
Right.
That does nothing for me or my family. Prison reform. It helps my community, and so I'm all for that, and I'm going to give him kudos for that.
But I'm going to need a whole lot more.
But in terms of for what it's doing for black America and the black America I know, like they say, none of my friends went to prison, so it's not helping them at all. Prison reform not helping them at all.
My friends need more small business support. More relief from losing their respective livelihoods because of the layoffs in corporate America due to COVID. My friends need relief with that. So it's a lot more. I need more. How about you stop banning diversity training? Can we get back to that? Nobody asked you for that, so you can have that back, so undo that for one. That's the biggest thing for me. Dr. Goodwin is in the building, and she says she wants a president that realizes that it is all about the people and not all about them. And this speaks specifically to how do you use your power? Do you use it to gain more power, or do you use it to empower the people below you? What kind of leader are you really? This goes all the way back to JFK, who got killed, but he said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. But it brought to mind the idea that we're all in this together. The country is the thing and not the person.
Yep.
Right before the French Revolution, the King of France was famous for saying, I am the state. L'état c'est moi. I am the state.
That's French for y'all that don't understand.
Yeah. And so if you think about what happened after that, when you stop seeing the people and you only see your own glory, you can't see past the tip of your nose, things fall apart.
He's a let them eat cake kind of president, really. He's like, oh, they want this, grab me the first thing. Okay, let them eat that, right? And so he's not even thinking about the will of the people that he's claiming to speak up for. Like, he's really trying to put us he's trying to create an America that doesn't exist. Really. And the America that he's trying to create is an America that doesn't see a great percentage of this population, and that's minorities, whether they're black people, Latinx, Asian, or whatnot. He wants us to be wallpaper and let them make the decision to what they want to do. So when you have like creepy Mitch making those, that creepy laugh that he was doing in his debate, and I was like, that's a really evil person, and
Mitch McConnell is the devil.
I don't reserve that word for a lot of people, but I think Mitch McConnell is a very evil person.
You got to think about, so Mitch McConnell is what, 70 something? Just like Trump, just like Biden. All three of them are contemporaries, but the way that they react to the world around them is extremely different. Trump's a narcissist. He's always going to be in his own bubble. He don't care what happens to the rest of the world as long as he's on top of it. Can all be on fire as long as he's at the top of the fire. He just wants to be seen as strong.
Oh, he's got the last bucket of water. He's okay with everything burning.
Yeah, he's okay at standing in a bucket of water where everything else burns. He is Nero.
Yeah.
So that's neither here nor there. It's just him. But you look at the society that people lived in 1940. 1950. You look at people who were born around that time, World War II, the baby boomers, right? Because that's what you are. If you were born in the 40s and the 30s and 40s, you are a boomer, right? This is Biden, and it also is McConnell. And you look at how they've reacted to a changing world, how they have reacted to things that have evolved beyond their normal. Biden did some nonsense back in the 50s and 60s and
70s. We'll call it all the way.
Yeah.
70s.
Biden did some BS, and everybody did. I've shared the story before with a couple of folks. Like, they talk about his treatment of Anita Hill and how he let her be railroaded out of her testimony, and it ended up confirming Clarence Thomas. He didn't believe her. Nobody believed her. He didn't support her. And I tell them, I don't hold him for that, because my own mother, who was a black woman, didn't believe her either, didn't support her either. My whole family thought that she was just trying to get 10 minutes of fame, trying to bring down a black man, all that other kind of stuff. We know better now, and I know better now, but I cannot hold him to a standard that nobody had set at that time. Now, if it happened today, bro, I'm going to have a problem with you if you do it today, because you've learned more, you've done more, you've seen more, you've been around new people, you've had new experiences, your reality is different, you're more expansive, and I I recognize that Joe Biden has grown up a little bit over the span of his life. I do not see that growth.
Here's my
with
one
Mitch
fear
McConnell.
about the election, and Jermaine has a great question, so we're going to get to this. He says, does he think the amount of repair will get in the way of new policy implementation? That's a great question, Jermaine. So we're going to, but here's my biggest fear in terms of, I'm very, very encouraged by the number of lines I've seen at early voting. People are really getting out there. So I think we're going to have record voting this year. I mean, like significantly record voting in numbers. But the thing that I'm concerned about is white America is so comfortable with white people in power. And Joe being, 77?
Yeah.
So they may not be voting for Joe. They may be voting against Kamala. Because if something happens over the next 4 years to Joe's health, it's not just going to be a black person in office. It's going to be a black woman. And is white America comfortable with that potentiality of her may have to step in if Joe continues to, if his health declines at any point during the next 4 years, if assuming he wins? That's my biggest concern. Will they just be like, I just not vote because they don't want to vote for Trump, but they may not vote for Joe because they're a black woman, and that's just too much change, too radical.
And sadly, there are people in our own community that see a black woman
absolutely,
and are like, no, I just don't like her. I just don't trust her. I just don't know her, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, nobody's ever going to be good enough. And there's a whole double layer of sexism and racism that she's facing. Every black woman in my audience understands that
intersectionality. That's the word I learned.
Yeah, you learned the word intersectionality. I'm so proud.
Intersectionality.
Ellis Dean, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna do that all day. But so we sit at the intersection of racism and sexism. We get it from both sides. You fight the man, quote unquote, going all day, and then you come home and you got to fight your man, who is mad that you're not feeling your traditional role. It's enough to make you want to throw everybody out and just take a drive and do like Hippolyta in Lovecraft Country and just go into space and don't never come home. But and she came home. But anyway, so I'm off topic. I want to make sure I get to some of the other things that people are talking about.
So Jermaine asked, do you think the amount of repair will get in the way of new policy implementation? Just having to fix his foolishness.
I do think, and you know what? I do think it will get into, there are some things we're going to have to do first. You got to shore up the foundation before you can start putting on balconies and, and decks and whatnot on your house. The foundation's got to be solid, and our foundation is cracked and broken right now. So there are a lot of things we're going to have to do in the way of repair. There are a lot of executive orders, bills, laws, and stuff passed while nobody was looking, while Trump was out here distracting people with crazy. They passed a lot of stuff in the middle of the night that is going to have to be researched and rectified before we can get into progressive agendas of any sort.
The executive orders are easier.
Yeah.
It's the bills and laws that got so that's why I'm watching that Kentucky race with Mitch McConnell, because we've got to get him out of that. Or even if he stays in power, if we flip the Senate, then he loses that power. And so therefore then we won't have to him, filibustering or just sitting on bills and trying to use that and strong arm people into doing what he wants. And so we've got to take that power. So can't just vote on president. I know that's the top of the bill. We've got to get Trump out, but you've got to vote down the line, because if, like, for example, here in Georgia, if Kelly Loeffler gets into that Senate seat, then she's going to be a puppet for Trump.
Right.
And so therefore, or
Raphael
even a puppet
Warnock
for
is
the
the
party.
head Democrat
Warnock
right
is
now.
running, the Reverend Warnock is running
Morehouse
against her. And so we've got to vote not only for Biden, but we've got to vote for Reverend Warnock here in Georgia. And every state has a lot of states have that same kind of situation. What's going on in South Carolina to get rid of Lindsey Graham? We've got a brother running against him there in South Carolina. We've got a female
Jamie
candidate
Harrison,
running
right?
against Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. So there are some seats that we've got to flip, and there's some seats that we've got to maintain, so we can take control and put the country back on the right track. The fear is that, and here's a question I have for you, Joy, is there a fear of potential violence if Trump loses?
Okay, so the qualifier at the end of your question is unnecessary. He said, is there a fear of potential violence if Trump loses? Bruh, it's a fear of potential violence, period. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. If he wins, hey, our guy won. Let's take to the streets and handle this once and for all with some sort of final solution for everybody they don't like. And it's gonna be judged on sight. So if you look like you might have ever in your life said Black Lives Matter, you're in danger. Period. If Trump loses, hey, our guy lost. It's rigged like he said it was. Let's go take to the streets. You know he's not gonna leave peaceably. And so it's not about him trying to order the actual military to do anything. It's going to be about people that he swears he didn't empower, even though he told them to stand by.
Yep. Or liberate Michigan.
Liberate, right.
Then we have an attempt.
Now you got a kidnapping coup attack on the government of Michigan.
And then he said she needed to thank him.
Yeah, you know what? Now that is the peak of white male privilege, is to tell somebody to thank you for a problem you caused.
Right.
How crazy.
I set the fire,
but the violence is going to happen one way or another. I think it's going to be in pockets. I think it's going to be guerrilla warfare. People stay inside, stay safe. Don't be out there talking about I wish somebody would. No, you don't. You really don't. You don't want no parts of this. So
you don't want the problems because inherently you don't have that kind of violence.
You ain't got the numbers
in your system.
Right.
You do not have that type of violence, that kind of hatred that has been bred into you from day one. What's been bred into many black people is, hey, keep your head down, get clear, become successful, do your thing, but don't cause too much attention to yourself unless you're some sort of valued profession, which is like entertainment. Sports falls underneath that.
That being said, I've been to the gun range, and I know that there is a critical mass of people out there that feel like, hey, bring it. You don't want this smoke. I got something for you, because I hear it. And I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't got the numbers.
Nope, you don't.
And even in the heart of Atlanta, we're surrounded by an entire red state. So thinking that, let's go back to the Tulsa Massacre. They had solid blocks. If you watch Lovecraft Country, and it'll show you, they didn't just sit there and let themselves get murdered. They fought back. They had their own guns. They were making stands. But you get overcome with sheer numbers. We make up 12% of this population, and that whole 12% ain't even standing with us. Then some of them are not prepared. Then some of them are not ready. Some of them are children. So the idea that we're going to be able to successfully defend ourselves against an onslaught is, in my opinion, misguided. Yes, there may be some wins here and there, but when it's all said and done, all y'all going down for murder.
That is silently supported by the police.
Yeah. Same thing that happened in Oklahoma. They dropped bombs in Oklahoma. That was sanctioned by the government. Right. And so the same thing happened in Chicago when they set fire to a building to stop a black couple from moving into it. They let the rest of it burn. And the police held back other black folks that were trying to throw water on the fire. So I'm not saying that it'll be that bad, but I'm not saying it'll be much better.
You can look that up. They dropped a bomb on a house in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
In the middle of a city.
Yeah.
The police dropped the bomb, not the army. The police dropped the bomb on a house in Philadelphia. So they will do it, and so there is that kind of complicit. And when I'm reading the situation, because I read the article about the men and the Boogaloo group that is planning violence, they're talking about overthrowing law enforcement too.
Yes.
But you don't hear that, right? You don't hear that from right-wing media talking about.
Because that doesn't fit the narrative.
Right.
Because BLM is supposed to be overthrowing the police.
Exactly. Antifa.
Antifa. Yeah, and the Boogaloo is supposed to just be some good guys who are trying to fight against some massive conspiracy of child molesters or whatever that's supposed to be in the government and some other nonsense, and it is nonsense. But they're talking about fighting the police because there are a lot of police officers who do fight for our safety, even us, right? And especially in our inner cities. And if they can overcome them, then we're gonna have a real problem. I don't know how bad it's gonna be. It could be a couple of upstarts and nothing. But again, this is the same thing that happened in the 60s. Once we passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, people were like, hooray, racism is solved. Everybody can go back to normal. No, the F, you cannot.
Nah, son.
No. And so even if Biden wins, that's not the end. If Biden wins, that's the beginning of repair. And it's going to take us probably his entire presidency to get out of it. And here's another thing. When you talk about being an ally, one of the things that I teach in my class is to share your platform, to share your power. and to share your influence. And that's what we need. We need allies like that in our government, people who will say, you know what, I don't want power so badly that I'm going to leave a broken system in place. I'm going to set term limits for myself and for the person behind me. I'm going to set term limits maybe for the SCOTUS. You know, I'm going to say that corporations can only donate a maximum amount to any campaign so that there isn't this propensity towards
conflict
super PACs.
of interest.
Yeah, and conflicts of interest.
Yeah.
And now, you know, Big Pharma owns this person, you know, so, but it means that you have to recognize that the power you have is fleeting. You have to walk into it knowing that you're going to give it up. And that is hard for a lot of people. The reason the Electoral College still exists to this day is because neither party wanted to let it go in case they needed it for themselves at a later date.
Right.
And so we are where we are. You've got to get people in the office that are altruistic.
Well, I think it also, you know, and I said this back in 2016, the president sets the tone for the country. And the question I always ask when I have these back and forth with Trump supporters, like, what kind of country do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a country that your president has Twitter meltdowns? Do you want to live in a country where it is commonplace to publicly insult other elected officials, people doing their jobs, people with disabilities, women, to really be that kind of crass and buffoonish as the president? And you could talk about policies. I didn't like George W. Bush for his policies, and I thought he was a little simple man, but now I kind of liked him. I was like, I was okay in the fact that, okay, we could talk about his policy, but everything else was pretty much civil. Yeah, it got a little ruckus on the edges, but for the most part, it was civil. We're at the point now where we have the president going on Twitter rants at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And calling people
That should
names.
not be normal. We got to step up and say that's not okay.
Right. Right. So we're going to, can we take another little short break? Okay, we're going to take another little short break, and we'll be right back, and we're going to wrap this up. All right?
You hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
And we are back, and we're here for our last segment of Thoughts and Moments right here on the Jericho Broadcast Network. Make sure you go and download the JBN app and register. Make sure you hit, well, we're number 14, right? We're number 14 when you register to give us credit for bringing you to the JBN. And you can also watch the show. So if you don't have your laptop or anything like that, you can watch it directly through the app. So if you're on a plane and you log in, well, I guess people ain't flying no more.
No, I mean, some of them are. Some of them
You know what I mean.
But you know what? That's the upgrade from where we were before, because
Yes.
now you get to see our beautiful faces and see all the shenanigans that go on, all of the, everybody, Ellis Dean. So you get to see all of this on the app, and that's something that you couldn't do before with SoundCloud or the podcast on iTunes. Although we're still putting up the vocals there, the sound files there. The interactive and the best place to go to catch our show after the fact is going to be on the JBN app.
Yep. And the YouTube page.
Yeah,
his YouTube
yeah,
channel as
and
well.
his YouTube
So
channel.
we got more. We got more ways to watch Thoughts and Moments, which I know you are asking for. So we're giving you. Got to give the people, yeah, give the people what they boom, boom, boom. I'm sorry.
This is my life. We do have. Hey, we told you it was real. It was fun. Radio. So there's the fun for you right there. And I think we've been super real today. You know, every week we come in here like we just gonna have fun, and then about 15 minutes in, and another thing, and we need to fight for the people. Like we go hard. You know, but I hope that you've learned something. I hope that you appreciate the conversation. I love my chat people because y'all keep us going. I mean, y'all dropping videos, putting up topics, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody that's here right now, I want y'all to come back next week because we are going to keep track of everything that you guys have listed around, you know, compassionate, taking care of COVID, having a plan on day one.
Yes.
You know,
reassembling a
dismantling
cabinet that knows what the hell they're doing.
Right, a cabinet that's actually qualified for the jobs they're given.
Housing,
right,
urban development.
That is my one wish. Is that, you know, we had a gang of folks running for office, running for president on the Democratic slate at one point, and a lot of them had good points for specific things. Yang comes to mind.
I love Yang.
I want to see Yang in charge of all the money.
Yeah.
You know, so do that.
He ain't gonna talk that Yang.
You know what? You know, okay, so for real, when he was running, I promise you, I wanted him to get with the Yin Yang twins and let them do his intro. Like every time he came to a rally, I wanted to hear Yin Yang in this thing. Like I was like, that just writes itself, bro. Why you ain't do that? But again, you know, now if he had done it, of course, that would have been like, oh, he's pandering.
Oh, they would have.
But I would have thought it was hilarious.
We would have enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, right? I mean, and you know, a shout out to the Atlanta Dancers Network. I'm not sure what they call themselves, but I was watching Last Week Tonight with John Oliver this past week, and he featured their video, Get Your Booty to the Polls.
Oh, yes.
They made it big time. Like he featured their video on his show, and that's HBO, right? That's national.
And that's
viral. International.
Yes.
Well done.
Have you seen that? Okay.
Yeah, we played it.
Yeah.
We played it that 1 week. So yeah, if you
is
know what I'm talking about,
hilarious.
just go to YouTube and look up "Get Your Booty to the Polls" and catch what they did. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud of them for making space for themselves in this political debate and encouraging people to get out and vote. You got to meet people where they at. I love it.
No problem with what they did.
Do I attribute that to Cardi B? You know what, Cardi
somewhat
is.
Somewhat.
You gotta give Cardi B credit because she ain't stupid. A lot of people, and again, when we get to that idea of how patriarchy affects our psyche, you see a woman who is very comfortable in her sexuality, and you assume she's not educated. You assume she's promiscuous. You know, you assume that she's, you know, all things bad. Cardi B, she likes to get her freak on. She was married. You know, she may have hustled a few guys in the champagne room that she admitted to later. But I mean, hey, you know, y'all both went in there for something.
You know what the game is when you walk in the
right,
club.
game recognized game.
Now.
You know, hey. But she also was a history buff.
Yes.
And a poli-sci student. So to think that she doesn't understand the political process is to do her a disservice. And I got no problem with her. I got no problem with Megan Thee Stallion talking about supporting and protecting black women on Saturday Night Live while she's singing Savage, you know, so I got no problem with that because whatever your platform is, you use it for good. I commend you.
And just like I don't have a problem with white comedians clapping on white women on Saturday Night Live.
Oh
either.
my goodness. So that's the clip we should have played. It probably would have got us in trouble. But again, we're not going to play it here because we're almost out of time. We're almost out of time. But if you get a chance, go to YouTube and look up Bill Burr. Not Bill Barr, Bill Burr, B-U-R-R, and look up his intro, his monologue that he did for Saturday Night Live for the opener. Yo, I have never heard anybody go hard like that and smile and giggle while they were doing it. Like he went so hard that, because you know SNL's audience is mainly going to be a lot of liberal people in the audience. Even they were uncomfortable. Like, it was. Yeah, he went hard on white women. He talked about
Gucci booty foot over the.
He talked specifically about how white women have a tendency to want to center the discrimination talks about themselves, and then he even said, "Y'all were right there with us, wallowing in the blood money for the last 400 years. Don't act like you wasn't married to all these people that have been doing all this terrible stuff,
Exactly.
and you loved it, you sat in it, you participated in it, and now you want to act like a victim." And he said, "And whenever you want," this is the part that I was like, "Woo." He was like, whenever you wanted to hook up with a black guy, you would do it. But if you got caught, you would say it wasn't consensual. So sit down here and take your talking to like everybody else. I was like, oh my God. Like I
watched it like 5 times in a row.
I watched it a lot. I
had to
watched
save
it,
and I was like, he just really, when you get pure truth dropped on you.
Truth hurts.
And it was painful, and that's why they responded the way they did.
Yeah.
Bill Burr has a history, though. He was on the Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
He was a regular on the Chappelle Show.
He's going to come with the real.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. What he said is based in historical fact.
Yeah.
And there's truth to it. I'm not saying that every white woman that ever lived has all done that. But go back and watch 12 Years a Slave and watch this white woman beat on Patsy just because her husband was raping her routinely. Where they do that at? You know, go back and watch Roots and watch how the young white girl who teaches Kizzy how to read turns herself into the victim when Kizzy gets caught and sold. Like there's some, and I know that these are all stories. I know that these are all movies,
that's
but
real.
they're all based
that's
in
art
historical
imitating
fact.
life.
Right.
That's all it is. I got one word: Mandingo.
If you so for everybody that's ever thought Mandingo was some sort of compliment, go watch the movie Mandingo and see what happens.
Just watch it.
It ain't what you think. Not at all. And on that happy note, I need a drink.
Yes.
This has been a long day. I need some food. I'm starving. I want everyone, again, next week, we are going to go hard next week.
And we got a guest.
We have our guest. We have Chuck Hobbs. He is we're going to do a longer show. It's probably going to end up being about 90 minutes, give or take. Because even this one today, when we were just shooting the breeze, has run kind of long. But we're going to have more to talk about. It's going to be a political show. It's going to be excellent. Old Hobbs don't pull no punches. Right? And so we've started today, like, what do we want? We've got your notes in the chat room. We maybe ran off the rails a few times here. We showed the old.
Why'd you point at me when you said we ran off the rails? Was that unconscious? I was unconscious.
No, I looked at you on purpose.
That was unconscious. She just go point at me like
right. Yo, our producers over here talking about that clip was still new to me. I'm talking about Ja Rule and because he really was like, y'all gotta see this. Have you seen it? And so he was like,
I heard it.
Yeah, we were talking about being petty.
It was funny, and I went with the bit too. I was like, yeah, let's play it.
Right.
And then we played. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. But hey, I was gonna play
it.
Bring it on back. It's all love here.
It's all love. It's all love. This is what real TV, real in the Real Fun Radio. That was a real moment. Like, ooh, you know what though? I mean, that's your uncle Bob say, hey, you heard about this thing called Snapchat? Like, yeah, we know.
And Uncle Bob, please get off of Snapchat. I had really, I'm not gonna say who it was, but it was somebody that's famous, older famous person, and I was talking to him, and he gave me his email address, and it was at AOL.com. And he said, yes, I have an AOL email. And he's like, and I wish it still said, you've got mail. When I would turn it on, and I said, look, dude. And I just laughed. I said,
I didn't even know the service was still up.
I guess the email is. I don't think the server is. But I think the email is still active. And so I'm like, dude, if it ain't broke, don't fix it,
I mean, I got a Bell South account.
I got a Hotmail account.
That's my spam account for whenever I sign up for something, I don't want to hear all their little spam emails. I send it to the Bell South. So if you get my Bell South email, that means I don't care about you. I just want you to know that right now. I'm telling you now.
That was the email you gave me.
Was it? Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a long time ago. I was using it then.
Cut the show.
All right, everybody. So, so again, next week, 5 o'clock, we're going hard on the political tip. We're going to set our own Black agenda. And so the reason we're doing this is not so we can all run up to do a march on Washington and talk about it, but so when someone asks you, well, what is it the Black people want? You know what? Here's my list. And use this we're going to use it with your local governments, with your local, with your city councils.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to be talking about school boards, HOAs, anywhere where injustices may fester. That's what we want to do. Is we want to have like, here's what we need, and here's how you in your little cubbyhole in the corner that think you're not racist, here's how you can help be anti-racist by adopting whatever we put together, right? So we're going to go hard next week. Please come back. Looking forward to it.
Another guest we need to give a shout out to is Sean Rochester, the Black Tax. I'm telling you.
Yes.
I'm telling you, read
Sean
the book.
Rochester,
Get
the Black
book.
Tax. Look it
You
up.
will understand how you're being overtaxed as a Black American, just being Black in America. Read the book. I promise you, change your life.
It will change
your
your
finances. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we are going to. Oh, Farrah. One time for Farrah Hayward gambling her AOL account. We should use this for junk, but yeah. So that's it for us tonight, everybody. We're out of here.
Yep.
Thank you for being so active in our chat. We were taking notes. We're going to bring all this up next week. So if you left something in the chat, come back next week to see how we incorporate that into our master plan, right? Because we're making moves. And Chuck Hobbs, thanks for checking in today. We will see you next week, my brother.
Yep.
And I am Joy Ride, and this is
Silly Thoughts.
The Silly Thoughts. And thank you so much. We will catch you guys next week. Good night and God bless.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook.